How's everybody doing? This is Ray Rob. Welcome to Sports with Ray. It's been a minute. You know, hope everybody had a great summer. A lot has transpired. Just here real quick, just to really get to the nitty gritty. Just going to talk about a couple things. Let's talk about what happened today. Today, in the NBA, Damian Lillard gets traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. If people don't know, I'm an avid Giannis fan. You can go to my messages. I was saying that Giannis was going to be something special 2014, 2015 when people wasn't really paying attention to him. And so, I've always been a Greek fan. I'm the type of person, I'm like a scout, I try to see things ahead of time, and then once people see it and then they try to, they kind of try to take over and try to show they're like more of a fan than you. I just chill out and just enjoy them from a distance. So anyway, that's right, man. Dame, who was supposed to be going to Miami, all of a sudden is now going to Miami. And it's funny because it was one of the shows, I can't remember, on ESPN. Somebody said something. It might have been Woj, who said there may be a Eastern Conference team in the mix, but he couldn't guarantee. No, or it might have been Ramona Shelburne. One of those two said that a couple days ago. They said they can't confirm it. They're not sure because they want to make sure that it actually happened. And they said there was another Eastern Conference team that could be in the mix. Everybody thought they were going to Miami. Obviously, television is going crazy. The blogs, media pundits, and everything. Who knows? Miami didn't have a lot to trade. And then by him saying he wanted to go to Miami, kind of put him in a tough position. Miami probably didn't want to mortgage their house. Or they probably felt because that was the only destination, and it's Miami, of course. As far as good program, good organization, it's Miami. The city itself, we know how live that is, that they'd be in the clear. And then Milwaukee came and swooped him up. And then you look on Twitter, then you see Jimmy Buckets and Tyler Hero talking about they feel like it's tampering. The NBA should investigate for tampering, which is wild to me. If he went to Miami, y'all wasn't talking. You weren't talking to Dame. None of y'all talked to Dame either. So, shout out to Milwaukee. Also in the trade, unfortunately, somebody had to get traded. And the person that got traded, to my surprise, even though it had to be, was Drew Holiday. So currently, Drew Holiday is now on the Portland Trail Blazers. From what everybody's saying, he's probably going to get moved again to another team, which ironically could be Miami. And that would be theater, must-see TV, because they're going to meet again. They've met 3 out of the last 4 years in the playoffs. So that would be very interesting. Also, Yusuf Nurkic, the center for Portland, got traded to Phoenix for DeAndre Ayton, and then there's other people that were traded as well, but those are just the main people. So DeAndre will be able to be a second or third option in Portland. They get a rebuild, get fresh energy. They got some talent in Portland, So they're going to be a team. Chauncey's going to get them to play hard. So not that they didn't before, but it's going to be really, really interesting. So that was a great bombshell that the NBA did. They were already saying that he was going to move before, training camp, because, you don't want it to be uneasy in training camp. This guy wants to go. He served his time I'm also a fan of Kevin Garnett. I know how that is. You want to be loyal, but the organization is not helping you out. They're not putting you in the best position to succeed, even though you've tried. And you've done all you can do. So I can't wait to see that combo. People still saying Boston could be the favorite. A healthy Milwaukee's always been my favorite anyway, because Giannis, I feel he's the best player in the league. No disrespect to Jokic. And so Phoenix, they get Nurkic, who is a solid big. He'll work well. He's a little slow-footed. Not slow-footed. He's not fleet of foot when it comes to defending the guards on the pick and screen, the pick and rolls, the pick and dives, the pick and pops, and all that stuff. But he's a very good player, and he's an intelligent player, and he's a good passer as well. So that was just to start off. That was a great That was great. That was great. That was great to see. That threw me off. I didn't know. We'll get to the NBA later. I just had to say that because that just literally happened today at the end of September, Wednesday the 27th. Also, now let's just switch. We're going to go straight to the NFL. If you know me, you know that my favorite team is the Chicago Bears. At the beginning of this season, the optimism that we had that we can be a playoff team. Justin Fields said he wanted to throw over 4,000 yards. I haven't felt this optimistic about a Bears team in a while. And Lord knows they put us through it. And then to see what's happening, I didn't think they could break Justin Fields. But they look like they broke him and he's not helping. And while we focus on Justin Fields, he needs to play better. We can't ignore that. Let's look at the quarterbacks. A lot of the quarterbacks that are doing well and Colin was on to something when he said this, and I didn't really believe him. I didn't want to hear him, but look at Trevor Lawrence. Look at Trevor Lawrence with Doug Peterson. Look at even Bryce Young. He was set up to get Frank Wright. Both of those cats have already won in Philadelphia. Shane Steichen has Anthony Richardson and the Colts playing hard, competent football. And then you look at my team, we've spent the majority. We did get DJ Moore, and Justin has to play better. The majority of the last two draft picks have been defenders. Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker. We got Darnell Wright. Velus Jones we kind of got another wide receiver. He's going to mess around and get cut. That was last year. This year, got Darnell Wright, Tyreek Stevenson. He's one of the starters. Dexter and Pickens. That's 3 in a row. A defensive tackle at the end. We let go of Roquan Smith and signed 2 linebackers who probably are, Tremont Edmonds, and TJ Edwards are pretty good. But one thing I always thought, which TJ Edwards is an excellent linebacker, but he's not fast. And then you have Jack Sanborn. Jack Sanborn is actually a playmaker, but he's not fleet of foot too, but he's more instinctual. And then we get Unique Ngakoue. And we still can't rush the passer. So, the teams are converting like 60-something% on third downs. You can't get off the field. There's no rhythm to the offense. If you notice, good offensive coordinators have their system, and they tailor their systems around the quarterbacks to make sure it works. For some reason, Justin's problem is he's always held the ball too long. I get it. That was always the issue of mine when I first saw him at Ohio State, which I love. I love the Buckeyes and everything. But you've seen him read coverage before. He does hold the ball too long. But also, they're doing things that's not beneficial to him. And I've seen time and time again, whenever he does something successful. When he does something successful, and they string along good plays that seem to work, they don't stick to that tune when the next series comes up. It hasn't looked like that. Well, let me say this: the New England game, even the Miami game, when Justin was able to be loose. And there was plays in the Miami game as well where, of course, every play isn't going to be perfect, but everybody keeps talking about design runs. I mean, you can get design runs, but just give him easy passes. I mean, I see Tua. I mean, not to compare him to Tua. We saw how Tua looked with Brian Flores. Confidence, they were wanting to get Tom Brady. And then you see when he got put, Tua was going to be out of the league, how he looked the first couple of years, even though they were winning. And then when he got with a competent genius like Mike McDaniel, now he's an MVP. So it can happen. He just, it's hard to take up for Justin how bad he looks. LaShawn McCoy just be killing him. And him saying that he need to switch to running back is so damning. And you talk about that's not keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? Especially the plight of black quarterbacks. When you saw him, he was third in QBR after week 8 at the end of the season. So that's something to build on. Anybody else, if you take that away. At one point, he looked better than Trevor Lawrence last year. Trevor came on at the end, salute to him. But it's easy to forget because the glaring weaknesses and everything just looks so terrible now. But that man is talented. I don't know about Zach Wilson. I ain't never think Zach Wilson was better. And I apologize to Mitchell Trubisky a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't think Mitchell Trubisky was better than Deshaun Watson. So, I'm not knocking. I'm just saying, Justin Fields. I ain't gonna lie. If we're not gonna utilize him, of course, does the rest of the season. But hopefully, he's not too broken. But man, trade him to Atlanta. Let him go to Atlanta with Bijan Robinson, Algier, Cordell Patterson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Arthur Smith, who they know how to, let's see how he'll look. That just pissed me off, man, because you can see it's malpractice. We've never had a good quarterback. The best quarterback we had there, I don't know where everybody talking. I don't know about. Okay, Sid Luckman. The best quarterback we've had is Jay Cutler, and I will always argue if Jay Cutler didn't get injured in that NFC Championship game, Aaron Rodgers wouldn't even have no championships because we was going to win that. Caleb Haney almost won that, but then the next 1 or 2 seasons we started off real good, and Jay Cutler got injured. I remember we was like 7-3. He got injured, and it was after that then the Mark Trestman era came in, and we ain't been the same. Besides the 2018 blip. So, Justin, if there's anybody, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm down. I'm not down, but I could just you can't avoid. You can see it, the pressure, and especially if you feel like people are not using you right, and you just went through some coaching stuff like this, and then you going through it again, and everybody just wants you to overcome. I mean, it's not impossible, but almost impossible. But continue to shine, man. Just do what you can do. Do the best you can. You never know. And the next 4 games that we play, if I'm correct, is against the Broncos. It's not in any order. The Broncos, the Raiders, the Commanders, and the Vikings. Those are all 4 winnable games because nobody's dominant. It can look much different. Or even if we get to 3 and 4. It will look different. But our defense got to play better. You can't play a zone and then can't rush the passer. That doesn't even make any sense against great quarterbacks. That's not even playing that old Tampa 2. I mean, that's why I love Lovie Smith, But that Tampa 2, when people expose it, like they can't change out of it. It's like nobody else knows any other defense. And so we'll just hope for the best. We play Russ in the Broncos this weekend. I'm looking for us to win. I know most people picking Russ. I mean, we got nowhere else to go but up. The last thing I want to say is I want to talk about those Buckeyes. How about them Buckeyes? You know what I thought? I thought them Buckeyes was going to lose. I love my Buckeyes. I'm very real with it. Like, I wouldn't have thought any less if they would have lost. That was a tough game, but it did show. You can see on my Facebook page. They overthink. Like my Bears do this. 3rd and 1, they overthink stuff. Andy Reid does it too, but he's overcoming it. And now people got so much respect. His stuff works, but 3rd and 1, the Bears did like tried to do a quarterback draw with Kmet, and then they tried to do a quarterback draw with Fields, and neither one of them work because bad teams don't get it off. And if we can't get 1 or 2 yards as for the Buckeyes, I don't feel like we should win anyway. So when they did a reverse on 4th and like that you look soft. You trying to trick them instead of because what they were doing is they knew Ohio State knew they were running, and they kept running that counter tray every single time. It was the same counter tray that happened the year before when Kerry Coombs was the defensive coordinator and what Oregon ran, and they couldn't stop it. And that was Notre Dame's most success, which made Lou Holtz feel like, yeah, they're stronger than them and everything like that. But, I mean, the defense played great. It was just a gritty game. Kyle McCord, you got to believe her. A lot of people, I ain't going to lie, a lot of people, I mean, had their doubts. I just wanted to see it play out because I remember when C.J. Stroud lost against Oregon, I was one of those people that saw you play against Akron like, man, just put Kyle McCord in. Leave him in. But you got to let people develop. Like, everybody expects people to be perfect after 3 or 4 games. Like, this is his first 4 games that he's actually starting as the man. But it was plays. He was cool and calm. And I looked at that. I was like, hold on. He was making plays. He was making plays, and I salute him for it. To do it in that environment, QBs can't do it. Most QBs can't do that. They can't. Repeatedly. And throws, anticipatory throws. I mean, we know about the 3rd and 19, but that 3rd and 10 to Ibuka, when he broke out of his route, the ball was in the air where he just he didn't break stride. The drive down the field, they had 10 men on, great. I mean, Joe Klatt on his podcast, the Joe Klatt podcast, I'll reference people when I get information. Shout out to him. He doesn't know me or anything, but he explained how everybody is so critical against Ohio State. They have Ohio State gets the standard of as if they're Georgia with the repeat championships. Georgia struggled against South Carolina. Nobody mentioned nothing about that. Alabama lost against Texas. It was a good matchup, cool. They struggled against South Alabama, or whoever, South Florida, USF. Nobody spoke about it. Texas was struggling against Wyoming. Nobody spoke about it. Ohio State won by 40 against Western Kentucky. I ain't play nobody. Struggled against Indiana. We went from 3 to 6. None of those other teams dropped when they struggled against other teams. And so that's because the narrative that Lou Holtz said is what people feel. I said they respect Urban. They don't respect Ryan Day. Ryan, they trying to see if you are Urban and Tressel or if you John Cooper. No disrespect to John Cooper, but you know what the stigma was. John Cooper had a great record, but he couldn't win the big games. No matter what happens, even though we know in 19, if Sean Wade didn't get hit with a BS targeting call against Trevor Lawrence and also Jeff Okudah, they stripped the ball and would have scored. Ohio State would have been playing for the national championship, which I really want to see against LSU because that defense with Chase Young and them matched up with that LSU. But it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, the hit of Marvin Harrison, which was definitely targeting, then they took it back. You know, there's a couple plays that significantly happened that changed the course of the ball game. But you know what? You got to overcome it. But so that's the thing. You don't get the benefit of the doubt. You right now, even though if people beat you, you'll make their season, you'll solidify their season. It's not the same when it comes to you until you win. Even though the year before Michigan got blew out by Georgia, and we saw why Ohio State lost to Georgia. It doesn't matter. Michigan still gets respect because they put as they would say, feats to ass at Ohio State and before Ann Arbor. So, I ain't gonna lie, I thought we was gonna lose that game. I thought the Buckeyes was gonna lose that game. My homegirl had a birthday dinner. I was still watching it on my phone when I was driving. Don't do that, it's not safe. But they pulled it out. They showed grit and tough. And then I also mentioned to some other people, the funny thing is, the 2 national titles that we won in 2002-2003 season, and then the 2014-2015. We didn't look like a finished product. All those games in 2002 were nail biters. They were stressful. We barely scored. Holy Buckeye, all that. All that was stressful. And we won. The next year we came with a better team, we lost. We lost. You know what I'm saying? 2014, we started out with JT Barrett, who I always argue if he didn't get injured. JT Barrett was one of the few quarterbacks that I saw when he came in, he could see the field. And then after he got injured, it was almost like he kind of relied on his athleticism and didn't trust what he saw. But we went through essentially 3 quarterbacks. Braxton got injured, which is why Braxton couldn't throw, which is why we had JT. JT gets injured in the Michigan game, and then Cardell comes in. Then next year, when it was supposed to be the better team, when Braxton came back and played wide receiver, we lost. We lost to Michigan State. In the rain and the field goal. So, if it looks ugly and we win, I'm cool with it while they figure it out. Because every time we look great and we're supposed to win and it's all there, we don't win. So however you get it done, just get it done and figure it out. That's the best thing. Figure it out as you go. And then by the time you get to these games, Penn State and the Wisconsins and the Michigans, the grit will build up. You have a mental Rolodex of things that have happened in the past. So I'm rooting for you. I'm sorry I doubted y'all, but man, I'm just saying it looked crazy. Y'all won at the buzzer, man. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the Bucks. That's just I just want to get on here because I haven't been on here in a minute, and I wanted to just state some things. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. You can catch me. I'm funny on social media, man. When I say funny, man, I mean hilarious as far as I like to tell jokes with my stories and all that stuff. Like to have people smile and everything. My social media handles is ReiRobb, ReiRobb97, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. Don't worry about it. Y'all have a good one.